Alright, so I got the Zulu all washed up and ready for this 1 year review. And if you go back, you can see when I first bought this thing, it's been about a year ago. And man, I was excited. Alright guys, I got something to show you. I picked up a new toy. Looky here. This is my new adventure craft. It's the Kaku Zulu. Alright, I've had the Zulu here for 1 year. And let's take a quick look and see how it's held up and what I've done with it over the year. Well, to start with, I got a lot of miles on this thing. And if you go back and check out some of my videos, you can see the crazy trips I've taken on it. Bust up through this grass and find us a campsite. Okay, let's go have a look. This is where the fun starts. Yeah, in the marsh. All right. I'd say I have over 300 miles on this in a year, and most of it's on the pedal drive. So let's take a look at the wear and tear over a year, and you can see it's in pretty dang good condition. Seat's a little worn. The only thing I've really done to it is on transport I broke the rudder cable, and I got to fix that. So that rudder usually sits up like that. And you have to just keep in mind, when you own a polyethylene kayak, it's going to get scrapes and gashes and road rash. So this is about the worst thing I've done here. And that's from bridge fishing, being shuttled on different trips. But I mean, overall, for all the wear and tear I put on it and the miles, I mean, it's in pretty dang good shape. So I get questions all the time on the channel about the Zulu. And what I wanted to do is just go over the top 5 questions that I get and kind of answer those for people who might be looking to buy a Zulu, or curious about the Zulu, or already own the Zulu. So let's get into number 1. Is the Zulu stable? So I think if you ask anybody who owns a Zulu or has been on a Zulu quite a bit, they already know the answer to that question. Is it stable? Yes, I would have to say the Kaku Zulu is probably the most stable hybrid kayak out on the market right now in its class. Alright, so question number 2. How does the Zulu handle rough and choppy conditions? So I actually have first-hand experience on this question. Let me show you parts of the video. Alright, so any way you look at it, the storm is up on me. And I gotta get back to the ramp. Alright guys, I'm seeing lightning over there. turn this sucker around and head back in. Get ready to see what we got. Let's see what the Zulu can do. See if we can handle the storm. Let's get it. So there's a couple reasons I feel the Zulu excels in choppy water, in rough water, and especially over the older model Voodoo that I have right there. Let's take a look at the hull design. Look at that nose compared to the older Voodoo. And if you look at the durability of this board, it is just rock solid. So when you get out there and chop in rough water, it takes it pretty well. Alright, so number 3 is the Zulu packable, and will my Engel cooler and other size coolers fit on it like it did the Voodoo? Alright, so these are the questions I like, because if you have been watching my channel, Paddle Camp Fish, I like to paddle, I like to camp and fish all in one, and that's why I got the Zulu. And yes, this thing is very packable. If you look at it right here, this is what I'm usually taking on a camping trip, on a fishing trip. To show you guys my little adventure rig here. For those of you who have not seen this yet, this is my Kaku Zulu. And this is my, I call it the adventure craft. It's a fishing craft, adventure craft, kayak. This is my normal setup. And I'm a short fella, so my seat's pulled way up front here. So I do have a little extra room back here, but if you look at this, the Engel cooler, it fits right in there. And that was a concern for some people because of the Zulu is recessed down right there, rather than if you look at the old model there, the Voodoo was just a flat deck. So people were asking, will my Engel cooler or bigger coolers fit on the back of the Zulu like it did the Voodoo? Well, yes, the Engel cooler, that's the 30 quart, fits in there perfect. And I also have a bigger cooler that fits right in there. You just have to play around with the other coolers. So the answer to is it packable? Yes, it is very packable. And let me just show you. You have room for coolers, gear on the back. You have a nice hatch in the back. Plenty of storage, and you can run fishing poles down along those lines there. If you have the pedal drive, it takes away from some of your deck space, but I still fit a small cooler up here. I have plenty of room here, of course plenty of room on the seat. Under the seat I pack all kinds of stuff, camping chairs, saws, stuff like that. And then I have the little mesh bags. I just throw my water bottles and quick throw stuff in there. And what I really like about this one is this hatch right here. It's a nice big hatch. And it is really sturdy. A lot of room in there. Looking down in there again. So you have plenty of room for dry bags. All kinds of stuff. I can even fit a chainsaw in there. I tried it yesterday just for the heck of it, and I can put a little chainsaw in there, so that's pretty cool. Question number 4. How does the Zulu paddle, and do I really need the pedal drive? Alright, so if you've been watching the channel, you probably saw that me and my buddy, we took these out and did the Swanee River. We did 100 miles on the Swanee River on the Kaku Zulu. And so I had a chance to pedal it. I had a chance to paddle it, and so I can answer that question pretty well. All right, so my current speed is around 3 to 4 miles an hour, and if I push it, I can get 5. Got a long way to go. All right, so the paddle I use with the Zulu is this Canon adjustable. It's a fishing paddle, 260 cm, I believe. It's a pretty long paddle, and you have to have the right paddle if you're going to paddle one of these things. So this isn't one of the fanciest paddles you can get, but it works pretty well. Unfortunately, on my Swanee trip, I don't have 2 of these paddles, so I let Chad, he was using the Voodoo, I let him use my good paddle, and I used my old touring paddle, which was way too short for this. So I ended up pedaling, I would say, probably 80% of the time. At least 80 or more miles, I used the pedal drive, so I'm very familiar with it. And then the rest of the time I paddled with that little paddle. And it wasn't really that fun with the little paddle, but when I get out and I paddle this thing with this big paddle, and if you notice, I'm paddling with the pedal drive because I like to fish, and I like to drop that in when I get near docks and stuff like that and get in and fish. And so I always leave the pedal drive on, and it pedals just great with the pedal drive on. And I paddle this with the pedal drive on and fully packed full of gear, food, everything, and I paddle this thing for miles and miles and miles. So it paddles pretty well. We finally made it out of the wind. And campsite's right there. So let's go get set up. Have some beer. Woo. So question number 5. It's a 3-part question. How do you transport your Zulu? What roof rack do you use? And what kayak cart do you use? Okay, so as you can see here, this is my preferred method of transportation, is the trailer. Okay, and that was just an old trailer I had that I converted into a kayak trailer, and man, do I love it. So I used to transport the Voodoo in the back of my truck. I also do have some racks. They're soft racks I got on sale at Academy, that I can take it on the car. And then I got the Zulu, and I thought I was just gonna throw that sucker up on the car and go to town, and it wasn't that easy. So the Zulu is a bit heavier than the Voodoo. So the best way to transport the Zulu is either by trailer or in the back of your truck. And if you are gonna put it on a racks, you probably would need a good set of racks and 2 people to load it in and out. All right, so we've gone over my 1-year overlook, kind of a review. We've gone over the top 5 questions that I get on my channel about the Zulu. And last off, let's go over some pros and cons, what I like about the Zulu, and what I don't like. All right, so let's start off with the pros. Number 1, just look at it. This thing is badass, you know. All right, so there are a lot of reasons why I love my Zulu, and so we'll go over those pros right now. Number one, stability and the construction. I mean, this thing is top-notch stable, and it is solid. All right, my second pro for the Kaku Zulu would be the packability. A lot of room to pack things, a lot of room to fish, a lot of room to go camping, do whatever you want on. So, very well packable. Next pro would be the open deck. There are plenty of fishing kayaks out there, and most of them you have to sit down in. You can still stand up, but this has an open deck with an awesome chair, so you can move around this along with the stability. You can't beat a paddleboard kayak hybrid setup. All right, so one of my favorite things is actually my next pro is the chair. Now this chair makes this kayak. You will not find another kayak with a chair like that. And a lot of people see it and they think, or they make comments, oh, he's got a lawn chair on a kayak or something like that. But they have no clue. This chair is basically like a polling platform on a boat, on a skiff. In a school of these trout, so I'm going to put the anchor down. Another small one. Almost look like the same trout. You have a nice chair here, nice comfortable chair with a backrest that you can stand on the chair. You can sit up on the back here and cast. You can fish off that chair by standing. I've casted cast nets off the chair. I've poled off the chair, and it's really good for sight fishing. So you can't beat that chair when you're on or sitting down on other kayaks. You're not up like that. Let's see here. Yeah. And so I really, really like the chair, which leads me into my next pro is the fishability. Oh, there it is. All right, guys. So when you look at sit on top kayaks, the hybrid kayaks, to me, I like that open deck and being able to stand up, kind of like I was on a bass boat and fish. And a lot of the other kayaks you can stand on these days, but you don't have that open floor plan like the Kaku. And to me, it's just harder to fish sitting down and turning and maneuvering. On this thing, I can do whatever I want. So that is a big one for me. I've always loved the open deck and the paddleboard idea. So that would have to be my next pro. And then I would say the last thing would be the ability to handle rough water with this design. Nothing worse than being out in a light kayak, a light boat, and getting beat up and waves rolling up on you and not being able to get back to shore. So I definitely have to say handling rough water is another pro for me. All right, so let's go over the cons of the Zulu, and I'll show you my three biggest things that I don't really like about the Zulu. And we'll start with number one, and I'm sure that this is everyone's first complaint, is the weight of the Zulu. It's not light. So, but with all these fishing kayaks, this is actually lighter than a lot of them. And I got some notes here. just to give you an idea, the Kaku Zulu is 85 pounds. So this is 85 pounds without the pedal drive. And if you can, and this is a 12-foot board here. And if you compare that to the Hobie Pro Angler, its base weight is 109 pounds. So then you can look at the Feel Free Lure, 87 pounds, Perception Pilot, 74 pounds. So all of these bigger kayaks, the fishing kayaks, are heavy. And if you think about it, how could they be stable, this stable, and have all these pros without having the weight? You just can't do it. So that it is a con, but it comes with the territory. You just have to get used to it. So my next con would have to be just the way the pedal drive, this system, takes up the space on the deck. And I know, you know, that comes with the territory here. That is the design of this board, and that's not going to change. So you have to take it or leave it. I really don't see how you could mount that pedal drive down in there to get it out of the way anyway. So it's not a real biggie, but it just, you have all that deck space and then that pedal drive sitting there. But if you're not using the pedal drive, it pops off easy, and then you get your deck space back. So it's not a big concern compared to what that pedal drive gives me when I'm out there fishing. No funny bass, buddy. There you are. He threw the hook right there. Okay, and my last con, which is not a biggie again, but it's the deck pad. After you've had it for a while, these edges like to start to come up. And I'm sure that, you know, that comes with the territory. I'm out here using it, I'm walking on it, it's in the sun, things are getting hot. But just the little edges pop up here and there. There's another one back there, but that would have to be my 3 biggest complaints on the board, which 2 of them aren't fixable, and the 3rd one I fixed myself by just throwing some 3M adhesive on there, and that will last for a little while, and then they'll pop back up. But other than that, that's all I got on cons for this thing. Alright, so there you have it, guys. There's my 1-year little review, top questions asked video. And I would like to encourage you guys, if you're into Kaku Zulu, into kayak camping, fishing, whatever, subscribe to my channel, leave me comments, ask me questions, and I can do more of these videos. And most of all, watch me and my buddies, me and my family, get on these things, go out there, have a good time, act the fool.
Better get up on some higher knots there and launch that off that top root.
There's one thing they say. They call me the bandit. Alright, you ready? You gonna go swing?
Yeah. Well.
Blah, blah, blah. That's what they say. That's bandit style right here, baby.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, you're lucky you didn't hurt yourself on that one.
God obey. Oh, someone set me up, buddy. And just enjoy what these Kakus can bring to us. So check out the channel and subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subscribers.
You ain't been backed away from the table lately.
Hell no, nor earlier.
You're right. And you're
Later.
ain't back.
Earlier.
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Look at me right now, that big old ass light.
Man,
Who?
you did.
No, luckily I did that though.
You did real good.
Keep those mosquitoes off me.
That thing just blowing old dirt to death.
That much. I've got a longer hammock than you have. I need to be right there.
Maybe you wrote the damn right.
Mine got a 12-foot hammock.
He had a 2-foot hammock put in a 25-foot space.
Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play through, only cause you set up the angle. Web that you weave got us tangled, caught in what's before.